Good afternoon, everybody. It is Steve Luckner with Right Side Broadcasting coming to you with an update on some breaking news. This morning, a train carrying GOP lawmakers to a retreat in West Virginia hit a trash truck in Virginia. And there was an accident there. You can see a picture of it over my shoulder. One person was reportedly dead in this accident, somebody who was in the truck at the time. Reports are that there are no serious injuries among lawmakers, although I am just seeing some reports right now of some minor supposedly injuries among lawmakers. So we wanted to just update you on this situation here. So let me just give you some of the facts of the matter first, and then give you some of the newest updates. So, just in terms of some of the details, it's a train. This is a CBS News report. A train carrying Republican members of Congress to their retreat in Greenbrier, West Virginia, has hit a truck. I heard it was a trash truck. Other reports say that. The lawmakers were scheduled to spend the next few days at the West Virginia resort for their annual Issues Conference. These are both senators and Congress people. The president's been briefed on the situation. There's one confirmed fatality and one serious injury. Again, reports are that the fatality and the serious injury are from occupants of the truck that was hit. The specially chartered Amtrak train, so it was chartered for Congress people. It was not a normal train that a bunch of people from Congress bought tickets on. This train was exclusively chartered to carry members of Congress and their aides and perhaps family members or people they knew to this retreat. It left Washington, D.C. at 8:30 this morning, and the train hit the back of a garbage truck at around 11:20 a.m. in Crozet, Virginia. The impact threw train passengers from their seats, but so far lawmakers appear not to have sustained major injuries. Many are also traveling with their spouses and staff. I heard reports that there might have been lawmakers' children on board too. I can't confirm that right now. Let's see. A lawmaker told CBS that some members jumped from the train to offer help to the people in the truck who were injured. Representative Jeff Denham of California tweeted a photo of the damage to the train. So that is from Representative Jeff Denham. You can see this is the front of the train. The train front hit that truck. And you can see there's the front of the train right there. Let's see here. Amtrak released a statement that said the train came into contact with a vehicle that was on the tracks at 11:20 a.m. So this vehicle was on the train tracks. Don't know how that ended up happening. That was clearly some sort of error, and it sounds like it was the truck's fault, not the train's fault. Although who knows at this point? But the vehicle was on the tracks, and it hit the vehicle at 11:20 a.m. Eastern. Local law enforcement is investigating the incident, and crews are inspecting equipment for damage. Here's another shot from Laura Prezote of the scene. You can see there's the truck in the foreground. Let me see if I can open this up. Yeah, you can see the truck in the foreground turned over on its side, it looks like, and the train in the background there. All right, let me see what other updates I can get you. And this kind of, I've been hearing experts say that this kind of incident is actually, unfortunately, not uncommon with trains. And you can see this paragraph in the CBS News article. It says, highway and rail crossing incidents have increased in recent years. Federal Railroad Administration report found that the increases were likely due to higher traffic volumes. According to a recent report, from 2010 to 2014, there was an average of 2,100 incidents per year of these collisions between trains and vehicles. That's pretty crazy. So again, from 2010 to 2014, there were an average of 6 incidents per day. 2,100 a year, that's 6 per day of these collisions between trains and vehicles. So sadly, this kind of thing is not uncommon. It's actually quite common. It's just it received a lot of big coverage today because members of Congress were on the train. Let me try to get you some more updates. I saw some updates quite recently about this, so let me show you what I am seeing. Let me make sure you can hear me, first of all. I think you can hear me. of these collisions. Good. Sounds good. This is from Allison Rabel, and she tweeted out, someone is being taken from the train to an ambulance wearing a neck brace. So that is someone apparently who was on the train. Now, I don't know if this is a train worker or if this is a congressperson or somebody who was traveling with the congresspeople. I honestly don't know. But according to Allison Rabel, and she reports with the Daily Progress, I guess that's a paper. Let's see. The Daily Progress is a Central Virginia newspaper. It looks like her news site. She reports that someone is being taken from the train to an ambulance wearing a neck brace, and that was just 6 minutes ago that she tweeted that out. Now, this is interesting also. Allison Rabel just tweeted this out. She says, the train in Crozet is slowly starting to move east. Now, I'm guessing, I might be wrong, I'm guessing there aren't passengers on it. I'm guessing they're moving the train. Now, they would have to move the train so other trains could use that track. But my guess is that it doesn't have passengers on it. Also, she said 11 minutes ago it stopped again. So I don't know if it's currently moving right now. As of about 12 minutes ago, it was moving, and then it stopped. So you can see she posted that, and then a minute later she said it has stopped again. So don't know I'm sure they're trying to clear it off the tracks there, which they have to do, obviously. Mark Knoller posts, in addition to the National Transportation and Safety Board team, I think it's and Safety Board, National Transportation Safety Board. Anyways, the FBI is sending agents and investigators to the train accident scene in support of local law enforcement. No indication it was anything but an accident. No indication it was anything but an accident, but members of Congress are involved. This is from Jennifer Jacobs of Bloomberg. She posted about 9 minutes ago, some injuries on the train are reported. Some of the other members of Congress are experiencing some whiplash, says Representative Chuck Fleischman of Tennessee on Fox News. I have a little bit of a whiplash and maybe a tiny bit of a concussion, said Representative Jason Lewis of Minnesota. So there do appear to be some injuries among members of Congress. Haven't heard of any serious injuries yet. Not to say that whiplash isn't somewhat serious, but I mean nothing super major. Hopefully that continues. But some of them are reportedly experiencing whiplash, a bit of a concussion, these kind of things. If you have comments on this news story or you're hearing something new, give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Thank you, by the way. Someone made a donation and I missed it. It was Christine Bestian made a donation. Thank you, Christine, for supporting Right Side. She said, thank you, RSBN. Donate, like, share. Who is next? Oh, now, Bobby Lee Stabler heard that members were still on board the train. You know, the reason I was saying I didn't think members were still on board the train is I had heard some report, I was listening to some report saying that maybe there were going to be buses, and so I assumed they were getting them off. So one of our viewers, Bobby Lee Stabler, is hearing that the members are still on the train. And Bradley Keith Hyman says they're taking the passengers to Charlottesville. It's pretty surprising to me that they're operating the train with the front damaged as much as it is. Let me show you that shot again of the front of the train. This is the front. That's what the front of the train looks like right there. Now, I wonder, that's the front of the train. I wonder if this was just a normal passenger train that wasn't chartered for members of Congress. assuming people are correct in what they're telling me, and that the members are still on the train, and the train is now trying to take these members to Virginia. I don't know if the train's actually running at this point. I saw it started and then it stopped again. But assuming the members are still on the train, my question is, if this was a commuter train and not a train chartered for Congress, would they let this train keep going with passengers on it with the front looking like that? I don't know. I have a hard time believing if I was just a passenger on a normal Amtrak train and then the train crashed into a truck and it looked like that, would they keep it going with passengers on it? Now, maybe they would. They got to get it off the track somehow, so... I'm a little, but I just wonder, again, if it was not a chartered train, would they keep going with that kind of front on it? Maybe the train works fine with that. I'm sure they investigated it before they had to keep going. But anyways, that's interesting. Bradley Keith Hyman says he heard on Fox that there were supposedly kids on board the train, perhaps children of lawmakers, or aides, I'm not sure. Royal Kitty says, if the train hit the truck that hard, why isn't the train derailed? I heard a member of Congress, I believe it was, or an aide, say in an interview he was surprised the train didn't derail and thankful as well. I will say, though, the train is much bigger than the truck, so the truck got the worst of it, so... Look, I'm not a physics major, but it hit it in a way that it didn't derail. I'm guessing there are cases like this where the train does derail, but this one did not. I saw it. Cat Church says, Steve, Fox News is reporting that the members are being taken back to Charlottesville, then will be bussed onto the retreat. So now we have a viewer saying that the members are not still on the train. So a couple of you said the members are still on the train. One of you says that the members are not on the train. Let me see if I can find this out. Let me try to get to the bottom of this. Here is another photo, by the way, from Rachel Bade of the truck that was hit. It is reportedly a trash truck of some sort, and that is the truck. It looks like maybe it was hit around the front of it. Here's a shot from NBC News, by the way, that they posted on Twitter. Let me show you this. That's from NBC News, their tweet. You can see, it looks like it was some sort of truck with a trailer on it, I think, because we've seen shots of the trailer on its side, and that's the front of the truck there. So maybe that's what happened. There's the trailer back there. Okay. Okay, trying to find out what exactly was going on with the members right now. Are they still on the train or not? I've heard things about... I've heard both things. Let me know if you're hearing anything conclusive about this. Matt Camper, our viewer, says, I don't think they would allow them to continue on that train, especially since the NTSB has a GO team on its way to the scene along with the FBI. Bobby Lee Stabler sent me a tweet from CBS News, which was interesting. Hang on a second here. CBS News tweeted this out. We were having a pretty normal train trip, going through a small town. Train was not going particularly fast, and then the train jerked very hard and then kept going, and then it came to a pretty quick stop. So the train jerked, kept going, and then came to a stop. That's from CBS News. Jonathan Young made a donation. Jonathan Young said, could be suicide. Antifa would use explosives, though. I don't have any kind of reporting on how that truck or why that truck ended up on that track. Don't know. So, well, I'll let you know if I hear anything about that. I'm guessing we won't hear anything soon about how exactly that truck came to be on those tracks. Thank you for the donation. Thank you, Ron Stalcup, for the donation. He says, thank you, Right Side Broadcasting Network. We are viewer supported here at Right Side Broadcasting, so if you like our coverage and you want to support the network and help us stay on the air, you can go to the bottom of the YouTube chat and click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat to donate, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. So we're trying to get the latest information on this train accident and find out what exactly is going on with the members of Congress. Are they continuing on to their... We've heard reports that they're continuing on to their retreat in West Virginia, but it's a little unclear how they're getting there. So trying to nail that down for you. If you find anything out, give me a shout at @Lookner on Twitter, @Lookner on Twitter. This is a post by Jake Sherman of Politico. He just posted this. He said, members of Congress who are also physicians are describing treating two men who had just been hit by a truck. They're discussing keeping his airways open as he lay there unconscious. How are Republicans going to keep this retreat on? Now, I'm a little confused by the reasoning of this. Look, this is apparently, I believe, an annual retreat that a lot of members, I don't know if all of them, but certainly a fair amount of members of Senate and of the Senate and the House Republican members are going to. And yeah, it's certainly awful that the train hit the truck, and certainly awful that one person from the truck has apparently died, and there were one or two, I think, injuries of the other people in the truck. But at the same time, look, I don't know whose fault it was, but suppose it's the truck's fault. Suppose the truck wasn't supposed to be there. I don't think it's crazy for members of Congress to say, well, look, this is terrible, but at the same time, we're going on this retreat to help the country, to figure out what issues we want to talk about. It's an issues retreat, so apparently they're going to discuss legislation that's coming up to help the country, that they think is going to help the country. I don't think it's unreasonable for them to say, look, we're really upset about this truck, especially if it was the truck's fault, and to say, but we want to still have this retreat because, we think it's needed for the country. I don't think it's crazy for them to say that. Now, maybe a couple of them are a little traumatized because they had to treat this person who was injured. If they were physicians, though, it's something they're somewhat used to doing if they're physicians and they were doing this. So I'm not really following the reasons here, like saying, how are they going to keep this retreat on? I mean, I could see them keeping the retreat on. They're probably unhappy. They're very unhappy this happened and sad for the people in the truck, but I certainly don't think it's crazy to keep the retreat going. Especially because the purpose of the retreat is to help America, in theory. Okay, let me see if I can find you any more recent updates here. Here's an update from the UVA health system. They just posted, at this time, after the train crash in Crozet, 3 patients have been transported to the UVA Medical Center, and 2 additional patients are being transported here. That's 5 total patients. 1 patient is in critical condition. The remaining patients are still being evaluated. Now, that's interesting because I had heard that there were maybe 3 people on that truck. So it's possible that this suggests that there are 5 total patients, and I'm assuming the 5 doesn't include the person who died. If that's the case, it would seem that at least 1 or 2 of those people were people from the train itself. Okay, let's see if I can find anything new here. Kat Church, one of our viewers, writes, sorry for the confusion. Fox News is reporting the members are still on the train. The train is moving in reverse back to Charlottesville, then we'll take a bus to the retreat. Okay, so apparently, according to our viewer, Kat Church, Fox is reporting the train is moving in reverse back to Charlottesville, then they'll take a bus to the retreat. Okay, well, I guess... so it seems like they're not going to just have this train keep going. It's interesting, but maybe I don't know what all the regulations are, and if this was a normal passenger train, if they would keep the people on the train. But they are keeping the lawmakers on the train at least until it gets back to Charlottesville. I wonder what the distance is between Charlottesville and where this train crash happened. It happened in Crozet. So if I look. Crozet to Charlottesville. 25-minute drive. It's 20 miles. 20 miles between Crozet and Charlottesville. So that's what they're going to do, is have the train, I guess, go back to Charlottesville. Let me just make sure of something here. Yeah, because Crozet is closer to West Virginia than Charlottesville, and they're going to West Virginia. So if they go from Crozet to Charlottesville, that's going in reverse from where they want to go. The train left from D.C. You can see Washington on the screen. It went down southwest to Crozet and was heading on to West Virginia, but it had the accident in Crozet. Joey Diaz says, why was the truck in the way of the train? That's the big question, Joey. No idea. No idea. Ayame is saying that Jeff Flake says the front of the train, front car did derail. Now, I'm a little confused. How could the front car derail and the train still be going in reverse now? I would think if the front car derailed, they couldn't operate the train at all. Now, maybe they were able, it was a very slight derailment or something, and they were able to get the train back on the track. I don't know, though. It couldn't have derailed seriously, or they wouldn't be able to use the train at all, I would think. Here's a post from Dan Nowicki, speaking of Jeff Flake, about Jeff Flake. It says, Senator Jeff Flake, his wife Cheryl, and his son Dallin were sitting near the front of the train when it collided with the garbage truck but weren't hurt. Flake joined other lawmakers to help deliver first aid to the injured truck passengers, one of whom died on the scene, Flake told me. Okay. So we saw that post from UVA Medical Center that said they had received or were going to receive in total at least now 5 patients. That apparently didn't include the person who died because the person died on the scene. So if there were 5 patients, I believe that's more people than were in the truck. So it sounds like some people on the train were hurt. I can't tell you. And they said one of the patients was in critical condition. I don't know if that's a person from the truck or from the train. But it sounds like some people at least were hurt who were not on the who were not in the truck, who were actually on the train. Let's see here. Just seeing if we can get some more updates about what exactly is going on with that train right now and about the injuries. Speaker Ryan was on the train. He was not hurt. Steve Herman posts, the president spoke to and received an update on the incident in Virginia from Speaker Ryan and is continuing to be updated on the situation, said the press secretary. It's funny. Steve Herman also pointed out that on the Amtrak Virginia Twitter feed, the only thing posted right now is from 24 hours ago, all bundled up for a comfy, snowy train ride. A cozy, snowy train ride. That's really funny. I want to retweet Steve Herman's tweet. Where is it? Here's Steve Herman. Yeah, he said, meanwhile, over on the Amtrak VA Twitter feed, and they just have all bundled up for a cozy, snowy train ride. That's the last tweet there. Vice President Pence just posted getting regular updates on the he posted this about 20 minutes ago. Getting regular updates on the Amtrak crash involving members of Congress and their families, praying for all involved and grateful for the swift action of first responders. The president and I will continue to monitor closely. I'm heading to West Virginia later today. So Vice President Pence, I guess, is going to attend this retreat. He says he's heading to West Virginia later today. I would assume to the retreat. Here again is that tweet from about 10 minutes ago from UVA Health System. At this time, after the train crash in Crozet, 3 patients have been transported to UVA Medical Center and 2 additional patients are being transported here. 1 patient is in critical condition. The remaining patients are still being evaluated. Sorry, just checking a couple things. A little bit of an update. This is interesting from Allison Rabel. This is very interesting. She says, the train engine is still here in Crozet after the crash. The rest of the train headed east. So I guess, this makes more sense now. I'm guessing this might have been, I know some trains have engines in both the front and the back, so they can go either direction. It looks like what happened, because I was saying before, we heard the train was moving and lawmakers were taking the train back to Charlottesville where they were going to board buses for the retreat. And I was saying, I can't believe that they'd let people travel on a train with the engine in that shape. But what apparently happened is the engine, which was in the front of the train and hit the truck, they took that engine off the train and then had the rest of the train go back east to Charlottesville. And I'm guessing there's an engine on the other end. There was already an engine on the other end of the train because trains commonly have engines on both sides. Well, I learned this when we were covering that train accident like in Washington a couple months ago. So this engine, which is damaged, didn't go anywhere. It's still in Crozet after the crash. I don't know. Maybe this became derailed. I don't know if it's derailed or not. Maybe it's just unusable. And obviously that'll slow train traffic down because no train can use that track right now. I'm sure they'll have that off there as soon as they can. But it is a crime scene, however, so they probably I don't know how that works. They have to investigate the crime scene and investigate that train. At the same time, they got to get the train off those tracks so they can be used. And they have to do any fixes to the tracks if they need to. But it's very interesting to see that train engine, the train engine is still there while the rest of the train has gone back east. Fascinating. And this is some footage of the train when it was moving east again that Allison Rabel posted.
Oh my God. I put this on my...
It looks like it's not going fast. So we can see there the back of the train, which I think, we can see there as the train moves east, that's the end of the train moving east, but I believe that would be the end where the original engine was, and they took off the engine, and the train was originally traveling the other way. So I believe that end had that engine on it, which that engine is now here, just sitting there on the tracks, they have not moved the engine as of 13 minutes ago. The rest of the train is taking off. All right, well, good. We cleared up some of that information. That's nice. Love it. Good reporting by Allison Rabel. Way to go. Beth Trojanowski says it's part of a traffic accident, not a crime scene. Yeah, well, that's a good point, Beth, although it could be a crime scene if there was a crime committed. So let's say there was something criminal involved in, it could be a crime scene if they think that there was intentionally they were messing with the train, or if there was like drunk driving, if somebody... so I know what you're saying, though, Beth. So I see what you're saying. Maybe it's possible it was just a traffic accident, but it's possible it was also. But it is something which will be investigated. So the general point is that I was saying is that given that they have to investigate this, and somebody died, so there's definitely I'm sure some kind of investigations you have to have when somebody dies. Between the train crash and somebody dying and any kind of possible criminal activity. I don't know how quickly they can move that train because you want to take evidence and everything like that. Camo the Crusader wrote, Idaho Congressman Raul Labrador's office confirms he and his wife were on the train, but both are uninjured. Joey Fountain said, just heard on Fox that Kansas Congressman Marshall administered CPR to no avail. Don't know who he administered CPR to. On the conductor, okay. This is from Dr. Roger Marshall. He's a congressman from Kansas, and he says, this says, Dr. Marshall performed CPR on train conductor and helped the two people in garbage truck who are now in the ambulance. They are injured badly. So apparently, according to Dr. Marshall's Twitter feed, he's a congressional representative, he performed CPR on the train conductor. I've heard nothing about the condition of the conductor. That's not true. You know why? Correction! I gave you some fake news. Here's the correction. So I don't know. I feel like he should delete the initial post. He said, correction, Dr. Marshall performed CPR on the garbage truck driver, not the conductor. So the part about the conductor was incorrect. So his account, about an hour after that initial tweet, said, correction, Dr. Marshall performed CPR on the garbage truck driver with Congressman Dr. Phil Rowe. However, they really should delete that initial tweet because you can do it. See, you do a search and you get the initial tweet and you get both tweets, but it'd be very easy for somebody to see the first tweet like I did, the one about the train conductor, and not to see the tweet after that. So they should delete that initial tweet. Trumping the Globe writes me that he believes this is on purpose to stop the RNC. I've heard no reporting suggesting this was intentional, but I also have heard that the authorities will, of course, be investigating to look into what happened. But as of right now, I haven't heard any reporting suggesting this is intentional. Kat Church said she just heard a congressman that's on the train says on Fox News, told Fox News via cell phone they're on the way back to Charlottesville on the train. So that's what we've heard, is that the train is heading back to Charlottesville without the engine on it. The engine from the front is still sitting on the tracks. They've detached the engine from the front, and the train is going back to Charlottesville. I showed you a photo of that. I'll show it to you again. I guess they had engines on both. Some trains have engines on both ends, and they just went back the other way with the other engine. But you can see here, Allison Rabel tweeted out, the train engine is still there in Crozet after the crash. That's the train engine that collided with the truck. The rest of the train is headed east back to Charlottesville, where the lawmakers will take buses, apparently, and keep going to their retreat in West Virginia. see if I can get any more info here. See, I don't know if this is correct. I think this is an incorrect tweet. Chad Pergram from Fox says, GOP Kansas Rep Roger Marshall is a doctor who tried to save the life of one man on the train, but he perished. But we just saw from Dr. Marshall's Twitter feed, he corrected the report to say he was doing CPR on somebody in the truck. Yeah, if you look here, see, correction, Dr. Marshall performed CPR on the garbage truck driver. I kind of want to reply to Chad Pergram. I'm replying to Chad Pergram because I think his info is incorrect. I think he has bad information. We'll see if he changes his tweet. Okay, this is the first report I have seen of a serious injury from a member of Congress. According to NBC News, Representative Jason Lewis of Minnesota has been taken to an area hospital for a reported concussion. So, Minnesota Representative Jason Lewis reportedly has a concussion and has been taken to an area hospital. That is the first serious injury I've heard about from somebody who's in Congress who was on the train. Okay. And a speaker, according to NBC News, Speaker Ryan says, today's incident was a terrible tragedy. He was on the train, by the way. He says, today's incident was a terrible tragedy. We are grateful for the first responders who rushed to the scene, and we pray for the victims and their families. May they all be in our thoughts right now. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting's live continuing coverage of the train accident in Virginia, where a train carrying GOP lawmakers to a retreat hit a truck. Apparently, somebody on that truck perished. I've heard a report saying it was the driver. And I've heard reports of other serious injury or injuries of the occupants of the truck. We just saw this report that Representative Jason Lewis of Minnesota has a concussion and has been taken to the hospital. That's the only report of a serious injury I've heard of Congress people who were on the train. The train was a chartered train. It was not a public train. It was a chartered train carrying lawmakers and family members and aides to a congressional retreat, GOP retreat in West Virginia. So be sure to, by the way, if you want to know when we're coming on the air with these breaking news videos, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell when you subscribe so you get notified when we're coming on the air. You can follow us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting and on Twitter at RSB Network. If you hear any updates about this or you have any comments, give me a shout on Twitter. I'm at Lookner, at Lookner. And also, thanks several of you donated to Right Side Broadcasting. We are a viewer-supported network. We like to bring you an alternative to the mainstream media, but we have a very few resources. So if you want to contribute, we are viewer-supported. Your donations are what keeps us on the air. If you want to contribute, you can go to the bottom of the YouTube chat, click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. All right, so let's see if we can get any more updates here about stuff that's coming out right now. The latest I have is that one representative has a concussion. One of our viewers, P. Tudsbury, sent me this post with another shot of the scene from Jack Durkin of CBS 19. He posted this. This was earlier. It says, on the scene of an Amtrak train crash in Crozet. I haven't heard anything more about the hazmat report. This tweet was from an hour and 20 minutes ago. I'm just showing it to you to give you a sense of what the scene looked like out there. That was from earlier. Edie Marie Trump sent me this post, which I'll show you in 2 seconds. And if you want to know who was on this autoplay videos, if you want to know who was on the train, all the lawmakers, CNN made a post that says all the lawmakers we know who were on the train that hit the truck. And they have a whole list here. So you can go to CNN Politics and look at the whole list of lawmakers there. Now, it's not that many. Well, they say the list will be updated, so maybe there were more than this. That looks to be around 40 people or so. I mean, 40 lawmakers. There were also family members and aides and stuff. By the way, we are aware, I posted it on my Twitter, that Trey Gowdy has said he's not going to run for re-election in 2018. We might do another stream about that a little bit later on. Both things are going on, so we are aware of that. We're keeping an eye on it. So maybe a little later after this stream, we'll do a stream on that. Jeremy Miller says, this should encourage all the lawmakers on board to definitely see the need for an infrastructure bill. Now, I have no idea if faulty infrastructure played any role in this. It could have just been, a driver of the truck who just was somewhere they were not supposed to be, but I don't know. Mark Knoller just posted this. It's an aerial view of the scene of the crash. The train has left, except for the engine. Christine Bestjen says, was Christine Noem from South Dakota on there? I don't know if she was. You could look at that list again I showed. We could rewind the video, Christine. But also, that list was wasn't necessarily complete, so I don't know. So that's an aerial view. And what you can see in that shot right there is you can see the front of the truck that was hit and the trailer. So it was a trailer. Is that called a tractor trailer when you have a truck towing a trailer? Maybe. But the front of the truck is at the bottom, and then the trailer is at the top. The trailer had a lot of damage to it, so I'm wondering if the trailer is what was hit. I wonder if did the trailer get stuck when it was going over? Did the train get stuck? Did the truck get stuck halfway onto the tracks? So the front of the truck was already past the tracks, but the back of the truck was not. I don't know, but that's the scene, an overhead shot of the scene there. There's another overhead shot too from Mark Knoller. There you go. Oops, let me get rid of the graphics for a sec. There's another shot of the scene there where the train hit the truck. I wonder if it was that road. You can see the road crosses the tracks there. And there is, it's interesting. You can see in that shot where that road crosses those tracks, there are those gates, the white arms that come down, and both of those arms are down. Now, I don't know what the situation was when the truck, was on the tracks, but if that's where it was on the tracks, they did have in place those arms that go up and down. Were they working? Did they malfunction? Was it the truck's fault? I don't know, but interesting to see that in that shot. See, I was right that there were engines on both ends of the train, as I was saying before. So Allison Rabel reports there were engines on both ends of the train. The train used the engine facing east to head back east. The west-facing engine is still here. So what they did, this is the engine that ran into the train. Ran into the truck. You can see the damage in front of the engine. They took off, they unhitched this engine from the rest of the train, sent the rest of the train back to Charlottesville, where from there, lawmakers are going to take a bus or buses to West Virginia. But this engine is still on the tracks. Jake Sherman reports the retreat will go on. And he posts this. It says he posted something from somewhere saying, after consultation with leadership in the U.S. House and Senate, the retreat will proceed with an adjusted program. Our thoughts and prayers are with those impacted by today's incident. The program will now include a moment of prayer for those involved in today's incident and a security briefing from the Sergeant at Arms and United States Capitol Police. So the retreat is still happening. An update. The train, John Bresnahan from Politico reports, the train carrying GOP lawmakers and staff has arrived in Charlottesville. Security is checking bus for trip to Greenbrier. Retreat is going on as planned per Congressional Institute, organization that hosts it. So the members have made it back on the train to Charlottesville. Now they're going to board, is it one bus? It says checking bus. I would think they need more than one bus. But they're going to head to Greenbrier, I think West Virginia, on a bus or buses. So there you go. There's a little update there for you. So there's a question. One of the viewers wrote me this and said, hey, check this out. I stand with Trump sent me this. Somebody named Christian Emmanuel said, hey, we've got some explaining to do. Why are the two locomotives completely different in photos of the same incident? So the deal is, this train had two engines on it, one on each end. So I believe what you're seeing on the right is the end of the train that hit the truck. On the left is the end of the train that was originally the back, and that engine is what the engine on the left that ended up taking the train back in the other direction to bring the lawmakers back to Charlottesville. So that's why there are two engines on this train, one on each end, and I guess they're cosmetically not the same. Oh, and Bradley Keith Hyman, we just heard a report that the train had arrived in Charlottesville. Bradley Keith Hyman sent me a little screen grab of a Fox where Fox showed the train arriving in Charlottesville. Members will then take buses to West Virginia. Bob See Your Uncle says he thinks this is part of the ongoing deep state coup against the president and his administration. I've heard nothing to suggest, Bob, that this was a intentional attack on Republicans, but I'll let you know if I hear anything. Ed Leffler says, can you keep the background from last night? Well, we use that background when we're covering like an election or something. I guess you could, today we, in theory, could have used it because it involved Congress, but we kind of reserve that for political events, whether it's an election or a speech inside the congressional hall or whatever, but you'll see it again. Okay, just seeing if there are any more updates here. If you're hearing anything new, give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Also, I post about breaking news all the time, so if you like breaking news, you can follow me on Twitter at Lookner. Be sure to subscribe to YouTube, Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube, and click the notifications bell so you know when we're coming on the air with these breaking news videos. Also, you can follow us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting and on Twitter at RSB Network. Thank you to our moderators who've been moderating today. Have I forgotten to thank the moderators? Oh my gosh, my bad, moderators. Barbara Braley is in there right now. Thank you, Barbara. And JC is there. Sorry, guys. We've been so busy reporting the news, I completely forgot. So thank you, JC and Barbara, and thank you, Common Sense and Gleno on the website for moderating the chat room. And thank you for the donation, Joey Fountain. Much appreciated. Joey says, showing my daughter Sam your show in the super chat. Love RSBN. Thank you, Joey, very much. Those donations are what keep us on the air, so we really appreciate them. If you want to donate to Right Side Broadcasting, you can do what Joey did and go to the bottom of the YouTube chat and click on the $sign, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. So the only serious injury from a member of Congress we've heard reported is that Representative Jason Lewis, I believe, of Minnesota, was reported to have a concussion. Now, I thought I retweeted that, and I don't see it retweeted on my feed, so let me just go and find it. Oh, I didn't retweet it. Here it is. NBC News says Representative Jason Lewis of Minnesota has been taken to an area hospital for a reported concussion. That's the only serious injury I've seen reported from people, from the lawmakers. Hey, what is this? This says, Representative Greg Walden tweeted out some photos. Let's look at his photos. Yeah. So there is... That was taken by Representative Greg Walden right next to the accident. There is the front of the truck. Wow. And some debris. There is... That looks like the trailer of the truck. And I heard this was a trash truck. You can see a lot of what looks like garbage on the ground. Although it doesn't look... Well, you know what? Maybe it's just a standard trash truck and it doesn't really look like it because it's all mashed up. But that back there, if you look at the back, it does sort of look like it might be like a trash truck back where they have the compactor lid or whatever. I'm not sure. But it sort of looks like one of those trash trucks with the big door in the back, the gate that swings open and closed where they put the trash. So maybe that's what it is. Although it's weird, like the license plate is sort of on the top there, not on the bottom. At least maybe that's just due to the damage. See how at the top there you see license plate and some lights. Kind of confusing. Here's another shot from Representative Greg Walden. Eric Taney in our chat room says, it's a rear load trash truck. Truck body came off, yes. That dude also says garbage truck in our chat room. This was another post by Greg Walden. It says, we're fine, but our train hit a garbage truck. Members with medical training are assisting the drivers of the truck. It's very confusing. You know, if it's a garbage truck, I would presume it's a truck that's familiar with the area, possibly a truck that's going on its normal route. I mean, I have to imagine that if it's a garbage truck, it's not somebody who's like in town for the first time and gets confused and doesn't know there's a train track there. So it's kind of, you know, it's a little extra confusing given that it's a garbage truck, why it would end up being on those train tracks if it was presumably familiar with that area and that was an area it normally was in. I mean, things can happen, obviously, but confusing. Okay, Chad Pergram reports, on Fox, GOP Texas Representative Burgess says the crossing gates appeared to be down when the crash happened. Burgess says train came to a very sudden stop. So it sounds like what Texas Representative Burgess is saying is that somehow the truck was stuck inside the gates. Did the truck try to beat the gates, maybe? Like maybe the truck tried to beat the gates and it couldn't beat them and it got stuck in between the gates. I don't know, but you're supposed to stop way before those gates come down, because lights flash and stuff, and so. But who knows? Maybe they were trying to beat the gates and they got stuck. I don't know. But from what GOP Rep Burgess says, he says the crossing gates appear to be down. Chad Pergram reports train carrying GOP members has returned to Charlottesville. Members will disembark and board buses. Buses have been swept for security. Trumping the Globe says he thinks the trash truck was parallel with the train when it was hit and not across the line horizontally. I don't know. Hard for me to tell looking at that footage. He says he thinks it's not a side impact, but I don't know. I mean, here's a shot from NBC News of the truck, of the back of the truck. I mean, it's hard for me to tell, or of the rear part, not the front part, not the cab part of the truck, but the trailer part. Hard for me to tell what happened. That's a post by Frank Thorpe V. Then there were a bunch of tweets like this sent out today. Representative Don Bacon, I am on the train, but I am okay. So the latest is that one killed. That was a person reportedly inside the truck. Several injuries. Don't know exactly who was injured. We do know that Representative Jason Lewis of Minnesota was taken to the hospital with a concussion. We saw this tweet just posted by Chad Pergram, where GOP Texas Representative Burgess said the train said, I'm sorry, this is new. GOP Texas Representative Burgess on Fox said the train came almost to a complete stop almost instantly. Some wondered initially if there was any potential for terrorism, but that is clearly not the case. That's according to Chad Pergram from Fox. Representative Burgess also said it appeared to him that the crossing gates were down at the time. Yeah, as I showed you before, Chad Pergram says on Fox, Representative Burgess said the crossing gates appeared to be down when the crash happened. Let's see, what is this? Oh, Devin Heinen, who writes for The Atlantic, just posted this. Oh, GOP spokesperson Beth Toll. Let's see. What is this? I saw this posted, supposedly from an Amtrak spokesperson, and it says, here is an update. An Amtrak train. Is it GOP spokesperson or an Amtrak spokesperson? Well, let's read it first. An Amtrak train came into contact with a truck that was on the tracks at 11:20 a.m. in Crozet, Virginia. 2 Amtrak crew members and 2 passengers were transported to a hospital with minor injuries. 2 Amtrak crew members and 2 train passengers. The train operated in Washington, D.C. Updates will be provided as new information becomes available. I'd like to have another source for this. This was Devin Heinen. Can I find any other confirmation of this? It's weird that this one dude has this statement and no one else has this statement. Well, look, I think this guy's reliable. I'm going to assume he's... Well, he says he's a contributing... I don't know if I should retweet this yet, because he says he's a contributing writer for these companies, for these publications, but I don't see this statement anywhere else in this Beth Toll spokesperson. Why would she just email the statement to this one dude and not put it out publicly? It's very confusing to me. All right, I'm not going to retweet that yet. I need some more confirmation on this. Oh, here we go. I got it. Wonderful. I have confirmation now. Reuters reporter David Shepardson posts the same update, so I'm going to retweet that. This just came out from Amtrak, and they say, an Amtrak train came into contact with a truck that was on the tracks at 11:20 a.m. in Crozet, Virginia. 2 Amtrak crew members and 2 train passengers were transported to a local hospital with minor injuries. We've also heard that somebody in the truck got killed. Local law enforcement is investigating the incident. The train originated in Washington, D.C. Updates will be provided as new information becomes available. So Amtrak is saying that 2 crew members and 2 passengers had minor injuries. Amtrak didn't say anything about the people in the truck, who supposedly one died and at least one had a very serious injury. I mean, the hospital, I think the UVA Medical Center they said, one of the Virginia hospitals said that one of the patients was in critical condition, so it sounds like it's not one of these people. Maybe it was somebody from the truck. Speaking of which, I wonder if they put out another statement yet. No, hold on a second. Yeah, UVA Health System is what I'm looking at. Yeah, the last tweet they sent out was still 49 minutes ago, and we read this before. It said that they had gotten 3 patients and were getting 2 more, and 1 patient is in critical condition. So that's the latest update from UVA Health System. Andrew Sova says, this whole collision seems a bit funny, like someone meant for it to happen. I am sure something will happen horrible tomorrow when and if the memo is released. Andrew, I've heard nothing to suggest this was anything other than an accident, and I've heard nothing to suggest this was intentional. I'll let you know if I do. Now, look, if somebody wanted to attack the train, if they would have to know this train was carrying members of Congress, know the exact route. And then it's a bit odd, because why wouldn't they just put the truck on the tracks and then run away? It doesn't really make sense that somebody who wanted to attack the train would stay in the truck and get themselves killed. It seems, again, to me, until I hear from the authorities that this was intentional, I'm going to assume it was an accident, because that seems like the most logical explanation. But no word, no firm word yet on exactly how that truck came to be there, especially if it's true what Representative Burgess from Texas said, and that the gates were down. We saw an overhead shot where the gates to cross the tracks for a car were down too. So. This is new from Chad Pergram. It says on Fox, GOP Texas Rep Burgess says the train came to a stop with a jolt. The lights went out and there was an unpleasant electrical smell. Just seeing if I can find you anything new here. So we know the lawmakers have already, the rest of the train besides the engine that hit the truck went back to Charlottesville. The lawmakers have gotten there. Now they're taking buses to West Virginia to their retreat. The train engine is still sitting on the tracks as far as we know. They detached that from the rest of the train. We showed a photo of that earlier. I'll show you another photo of it now. As Allison Rabel says, there were engines on both ends of the train. The train used to use the engine facing east to head back east. The west-facing engine that hit the truck is still sitting there on the tracks right now. All right, well, the news is starting to slow down a bit, so I think we're going to stay on another minute or two and then wrap up the stream. But appreciate all of you sending in your news tips and your comments. And if I hear big news on this later today, I will post it on my Twitter. So you can follow me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Also, to know when we're coming on the air with these breaking news videos, we do them all the time. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Click the notifications bell when you do. You can also follow us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting and on Twitter at RSB Network. Thanks to our moderators who've been moderating the chat, Barbara Braley and JC on YouTube, and Common Sense and Glen O on our website. And appreciate those of you who made donations. We are a viewer-supported network, so if you enjoy our news coverage, enjoy having something different besides the mainstream media, a place to go to for your news, you can donate to us by going to the bottom of the YouTube chat and clicking on the dollar sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Your donations are what keeps us on the air. Yeah, so I think we're going to wrap up this stream right now. It seems like basically all the news we're going to get for all the big news is in right now. I'm sure there'll be more trickling in, but it's kind of slowed down. So, and thank you for saying thank you in the chat room. Hang on one second. I wanted to just check out the Facebook chat as well. I rarely get a chance to look at that during the broadcast. Thank you for saying thanks. Some of our viewers said thanks for the stream. Kenneth Vaughn, Light Switch, It's Honor Bright, Grumpy, JC Barbara. Who else? Light Switch, I said already. Irene Soto. And let me just check what's going on in the Facebook chat real quick. If I can. So odd. My Facebook is not behaving itself. Thank you, Dan P. Thank you, YouTube 13. There we go. Joan Brown in the Facebook chat, thank you. Thank you, Greg Gosnell. And everybody else watching in the Facebook, Michael Hall and everybody else watching on who watched on Facebook. Thanks, GM, Sheared Wheel Bearing, Teresa Brahmagim. And all right, that's going to wrap it up from here. So thank you for watching our live coverage of this. Of course, our thoughts are with everybody who was injured in this. I'm very sad that somebody seems to have died in this. Someone seems to have died in this accident. It sounds like it was somebody in that garbage truck. So our thoughts are with those affected, injured, and the families of those injured and affected by this incident. And hopefully we'll hear more on why this happened. But there was that interesting statistic that we read before. Before we get off the air, I want to read to you again. I mean, which was surprising to me, from the CBS News article, and it said, highway, my graphic stopped. Look what happened. Highway and rail crossing incidents have increased in recent years. A Federal Railroad Administration report found that the increases were likely due to higher traffic volumes. Then it says there was from 2010 to 2014, there was an average of 2,100 incidents per year of these collisions between trains and vehicles. So on average, over 2010 to 2014, basically on average in the U.S., 6 collisions a day between trains and vehicles. So this is unfortunately a very common thing that happens. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up from here. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do this thing where I can't put the concluded screen up yet. So I'm going to say goodbye to you all, and I'm just going to stop the stream. Normally, I would say I would put up the stream has ended shot, but I can't really do that at the moment for technical reasons. Anyways, that's the stream for now. Subscribe to us on YouTube so you get more of our live breaking news videos. Click the notifications bell. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we will see you soon here at Right Side Broadcasting. Hope you have a good day. And right now, sorry you have to watch me while I end the stream. So I'm going to do this right now. Okay, thanks, folks. Have a good day. We'll see you soon with more news here at Right Side Broadcasting.